Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second week of distance learning. And today we are going to start getting back into map making a little bit. So in our first history and geography block, we started off with a map of our desk, then a map of our classroom, and then a map of our school. So now we are going to zoom out even more, and today we're going to draw a map of the city of Medford. Now it's not just going to be any map of Medford. We are going to draw a historical map of Medford, and this is actually going to be the way Medford looked when it first became a city. So we get to have a little fun with it today because we're not just drawing objects. We get to kind of make this map look old a little bit. So I am going to start with my dark brown pencil actually, and we're going to kind of sketch out the outlines of the first map of the city of Medford. And Medford, when it first became a city, it had stage road that kind of went along its north side like this. And then there was another road. Oh, it was Jacksonville Highway. Jacksonville Highway came down like this. And then there wasn't really a road here, but it was just kind of the end of the city. And the end of the city came down here. And it met up with J Street, which went along here. And at the very edge of town was West 12th Street. Which came up that way. And Stage Road was kind of the main road, right? So a stagecoach ran. So it was a really wide, kind of a highway almost back then. So that was the really big road here. And Jacksonville Highway was also a pretty large road, but not as big as Stage Road. Okay, so those are what we call our city limits. And we are going to leave those as they are for a minute because all old maps had really cool titles on them. And so we are going to draw a really cool title here for the map of the town of Medford. So let's see. And we're going to do it in black and white, which usually I like to add a lot of color to things, but I really want to keep like the historical integrity of this drawing going. So let's see here. We are going to do like a little ribbon that comes across here. Okay, it's going to be kind of like a little form that we're going to draw here. Because back then you didn't just print something on there with the computer. No, it was all hand lettered. All right, and behind this little ribbon is our M for Medford. So the M kind of goes behind like this. So I want to make it nice and thick, like it was put in there with an old-timey printing press. are going to be all capital letters. D. Being really careful to keep your letters the same height. O. There we go. Medford, okay. Then we get to decorate it just a little bit more. So over our Edford here, well, first of all, between the M and the E, we're going to have a little line. It comes up. And another line right here on the edge of our little banner. And then there's a little, kind of a halo almost that comes around. And it's going to just kind of go off the page. We'll have a little frame that goes around the rest of the name of the town. Just like that. And this will kind of end like a banner, like you would see hanging from a castle or something. Okay, and on our little sash here, so let's see, over here on our little halo, it says map. And this says, you have to write small now, Town of Medford. Below that, we're going to write in your very best handwriting. Take your time. My hands are a little shaky tonight. Hopefully you can do better than me. Jackson County, Oregon. All right, and we'll finish that off with a line. And there we have it. There's our cool title for our map. Okay. So we have our city limits all mapped out. Now, in the very center of Medford in those days, that was where the railroad depot was. Where the trains would come in and where cargo would be loaded on and off trains, where people would come in and off trains. So the railroad tracks actually kind of ran right through the center of town. So I'm going to take my lighter brown. And that's where we're going to put the railroad depot, in the lighter brown. So it took a pretty big space in town. So it was right about here. And we're going to make a rectangle right here in the middle of our map, okay? That was how much the railroad took up in Medford. So you had tracks that came out here. So here's West 12th Street. It came down. And here is J Street here at the bottom of our map. And so the railroad tracks came across 12th Street here, and they came into the station and they split here. So one kind of went towards the bottom of the station, and one came around the top of the station. And then they went right back out across Jacksonville Highway. And then in the middle here, you had the train platform where people or animals or fruit crates or logs or anything would get on and off the trains or be loaded on and off the trains. Okay? So we're going to draw everything first, and we're going to go back and label. So if you're wondering why we're not labeling anything yet, that is why. Okay, next, we're going to start putting some other streets in our town. So going across the top here on this part of town, so first of all, there was a little bit of an empty area right here in our northeast corner of town. And that was C Street that ran along this way. And then running right along the edge of the train station, we had D Street. So the streets going this way were all in ABC order. So here was D Street. It ran right up to 12th Street. And right along this side, the north side of the railway station. That was D Street. And then up here, we had C Street. And it just ran exactly parallel to D Street, just like that. And then we had a little street that went this way. And it kind of came in near the railroad depot. So we had a bit of a crossroads here. And this wasn't houses or anything. This was empty land back then. And of course, above C Street, we had what? B Street. So B Street came right off of here and ran parallel to the other two streets. Okay. Then below the depot was, let's see, we've got B, C, D Street. What do you think this one was? It was, let's see, actually F Street, and I'll show you where E Street is in a minute. So here comes F Street. And you're going, well, Mrs. Richardson, where the heck is E Street? Well, E Street went right along the railroad tracks right here. So it came up to the depot, but it didn't go through the railroad land. It just kind of came here and stopped, and then it picked up again along the tracks over here. And that was E Street. Okay, so we have B, C, D, E, F Street. What's next? You're right, it's G Street. What's next? H Street. And then last but not least, we have I Street. And of course, our border on the city limits is J Street. Okay, so we have all of our letter streets in. Should we go ahead and label them right now? So I'm going to take my black pencil, and this is B. I'll show you where A Street is in a little bit. It's a little complicated. We can just go ST for street. C Street. D Street. E Street. F Street. G Street. H Street. And I Street. And J Street. Okay. This little guy right here. So over here we have 12th Street, right? Oops, I'll do that in black. And then this street right here, we're going to skip a few streets and put this one in. This one right here is 9th Street. Okay. And like I said, there's nothing here, no streets there. There's a street that goes from here along the side of the railroad depot, which is going to be, any guesses? You're right, it's 10th Street. And 10th Street goes all the way down to J Street. Just gonna go from line to line here. Here we go. So that's 10th. And then, of course, we need 11th Street, which goes right in between 12th and 10th. So we're going to start right here. Go. Is 11th Street. All right. And then 9th Street picks up again on the other side of the depot. So we can do the rest of 9th Street. I don't know if you can hear the background noise, but Pickles, the cat, is batting at the sliding door to be let in. So if you hear some odd rattling behind me, Don't worry, it's just my cat bothering me. There he goes. All right, there's the rest of Ninth. Okay, so we have the letter streets going this way, and we have the number streets going that way. So we have next 8th Street. Which skips across the depot, just like 9th Street does. And it goes all the way down to J Street. And then we have 7th Street, which goes like right through the, well, it doesn't go through, but it stops right at the middle of the depot and then keeps going on down to J Street. So 9th, 8th, 7th, 6th Street is next, of course. And 6th Street gets a little interesting again because then there's another little vacant lot right here. So 5th Street actually starts here, South B Street. We don't start it up here at Stage Road. We're going to start it here. Okay, so here goes 5th Street. And across the depot. Down to J Street. Okay, and then we have 4th Street. 4th Street goes right down the edge of the depot here. So I'm just going to start actually here at the edge of the depot. And 4th Street does go all the way up to Stage. Here we go. Just right along the edge of the depot and down to J Street like the rest. Okay. Look at this. Our map is really shaping up now. All right. And then coming off of 4th Street here, we have our long lost friend, A Street. So A Street just came off this way. Just a little short street on the edge of town. So that's where A Street was. Okay, and then of course we left off with 4th Street. Then we need 3rd Street. So let's see here. Sure, I gotta leave room for all of our streets. Here comes 3rd Street. And then 2nd Street started down here at B Street. it didn't reach all the way to J Street, as you can see. It just kind of ended there at the edge of town, and then of course eventually they added onto it. This is when Medford was first beginning. And Little First Street didn't start. My goodness, First Street didn't start until East Street. So First Street was just right here. Another little short street. Just a couple blocks. That was First Street. And then of course in between all these streets, that's where the houses would have been and the businesses, the hotels, and all of that stuff. So let's go ahead and number our streets. So we left off with the number of streets at 9th. So here is 8th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, and then we have our shorter streets, 2nd and 1st. Okay. Oh, and I forgot Stage Road. And Jacksonville. Highway. All right, so that's the basics of our map. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of go back to the railroad here. Have you ever seen a map where it shows railroad tracks? They just do these little tiny cross hatches here to show that that's where the railroad goes. It's like the ties on the railroad tracks. So there's 2 tracks here at the depot. Try to keep your little marks evenly spaced as much as you can. Makes your map look nice and neat. And then the tracks kind of come up here a little bit. And they go out and across the highway, across 12th Street. There's our railroad tracks. And then to show kind of where the houses are, I'm going to take the side of my lead and just lightly shade in between the streets here. Let's not color in our streets because we want to be able to see the name of each street. I'm not going to shade this in because remember that was empty land back then. There were no businesses there. Not going to shade in the railroad depot because it was its own special land. Let me see. And then right here from B Street to 4th and 6th Street was also empty at that time. So we're not going to shade that in either. So when Medford was first founded in, what year was it? Who remembers? In 1883, there were probably just a few dozen people living here at the time. And today, Medford has a population of about 100,000 people. Well, that's a lot of growth in about 130 years. Okay. Here we go. And then I think what I will do is I'm going to grab my block crayons. Hold on a second. I left them over here. So I am going to take a brown block crayon and I'm just going to do just a little bit of a border. You know how you look at old documents, old photographs, and the edges, they kind of get yellowed or brown over time. And it's also kind of how we do our borders anyway in our main lesson book with our block crayons sometimes. I'm just gonna add a little bit of aging around the edge of Medford here. Don't want to get it too much on my cool title that I did. Just to kind of give a little sense of history to my map here. Okay, and there we have it. Our historical map of Medford, Oregon, as it first appeared in its first official map after the city was deeded and established in the 1800s. Well, I hope you enjoyed this drawing. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the history of Medford. And we're going to continue making some maps this week, but our maps now are going to shift more from history, more to geography. So we're going to start learning more about where our mountains and our rivers are. So I hope that you're ready, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you later.